Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I have 5 family-friendly, easy weeknight dinners for you guys, and I'm going to jump right in with the first one, which is honey mustard chicken tenders. These things are fantastic. You literally just need some chicken tenders. I have about 1.8 pounds right here. Honey mustard, any kind, but Ken's is phenomenal. Ritz crackers, salt, and pepper. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Crush your crackers down as small as you want them. If you want some chunks, leave a little bit of chunks. That's completely up to you. And set up your breading station. A bowl for the Ritz, a bowl for the honey mustard, and then you're going to need a plate for your chicken tenders. I take this weird little piece off of mine because it's chewy, and I will remove the tendon and cut these in half. Once I do all that, I'm going to salt and pepper them to taste. You can do whatever you want. Dip them in the honey mustard. Make sure they're fully coated. Dip them into the crushed up Ritz crackers, kind of push the cracker onto it, and then put them on a foil lined and sprayed with like some Pam or some cooking spray cookie sheet, ready to go into the oven. This is what they look like before they go in the oven. You're gonna bake them for 30 minutes, and this is what they come out looking like. They were absolutely delicious. We served them with some broccoli and some mashed potatoes. So good. We have made these 3 times since filming this video. They are that good, especially with some extra sauce to dip them in. Dinner number 2 is pizza pasta. My kids went absolutely crazy for this because it does taste just like pizza, especially if you serve it with some kind of bread. But what you're gonna need is 2 14-ounce jars of whatever pizza sauce you like. This Classico stuff is phenomenal. A box of rotini, a pound of Italian sausage, some pepperonis. You can use minis, turkeys, your choice, mozzarella cheese or any kind of pizza cheese you like, salt, pepper, garlic powder, and Italian seasoning. This is all you're gonna need for this. Get a very large skillet, preferably one that can go in the oven. Heat it to medium high, and cook down your sausage till it's completely cooked through, and of course get that paper out of there if yours falls in like mine did. You're going to need about 30 pepperonis, and you're going to wanna cut them in half. These are going to be going in the pasta, and then there'll be a few extra on top of it as well. But just don't forget to cut them in half or even quarter them if you want smaller pieces. Once the sausage is cooked all the way through, drain any of the excess fat if there's too much in there, and put the pepperonis in. Start to cook that, and then put all of your seasonings to taste in here. It's about a half a teaspoon of the Italian and a half a teaspoon of the garlic. We go a little heavier than that, but you do what you want to do. Both jars of sauce, and you're gonna need 4 cups of water, but I pour some of that water into the jars and shake out the extra sauce so there's no wasting. And then pour the box of pasta in the pan, stir it in there, and make sure they're all below the water level. Bring this thing up to a boil. Once it is boiling, stir it around really well. Put a lid on and put this down to simmer, but do make sure your noodles are underneath the liquid line, otherwise they're gonna have some hard pieces that don't cook all the way through. About 15 minutes later, check one of the noodles like you see me doing, and once the noodles are tender, that part is done. You're going to take about a cup of mozzarella cheese, between a half a cup and a cup, and stir it into the pasta so it melts through, and then put the rest of the bag on top, as well as a few pepperonis. These are gonna be mostly for decoration, to be honest, but they do crisp up really nice under the broiler. That's the best part of those pepperonis on top, is when they get nice and crispy. But pop this thing under your broiler, watch it, because it only takes about 3 to 5 minutes depending on your oven. All you're doing is melting the cheese on top, and this is what it comes out looking like. This one was so good. I cannot recommend this one more. It was absolutely phenomenal and so easy for a weeknight. Top it with anything you like, some crushed red pepper, parsley, Parmesan cheese like you would pizza, but absolutely fantastic. Definitely try this one. Dinner number 3 is one I found off of TikTok. It is a crock pot recipe. It's like a chicken and rice and broccoli deal. You're going to need some chicken breast, a whole carton of chicken broth. I always buy reduced sodium, 2 packs of the Nor rice sides, some kind of chicken or chicken and broccoli, a whole pack of frozen broccoli, and then these are the spices: salt, pepper, paprika, and then if you want to go one step further, add the garlic powder, which of course we did. Heat some olive oil in a skillet over about medium-high heat, and season the chicken breast with all those spices to your heart, and then put them in the pan. All you're doing here is looking for color. You're not trying to cook these all the way through, but you do want to brown them on both sides. It does help with the flavor, and it does help to retain moisture. Over to the crock pot, add both of the packets of the rice and the entire carton of the chicken broth. Once you put that in there, you're going to need to break it up, because if you see those little cubes of like the seasoning packet in there, you want to break all that up and get it mixed up really well. Once you do that, take the entire pack of the frozen broccoli, don't thaw it or pre-cook it or anything, just put it in there frozen, and try and push it down in there with the rice, because then you're going to put the chicken breast across the top of this thing, and you don't have to push them down into the sauce. They're fine to just sit right on top. Put the lid on and cook this thing on low for about 5 to 6 hours, or high for 3 to 4 hours. Once your chicken is done, you can either leave it whole like this and serve it, or you can shred it up. I wanted to feed my whole family, so I shredded it. I kind of wish I wouldn't have done that, because it did get a little bit chewy for my taste. I don't like shredded chicken though, so if you do, that's still perfect. The woman on TikTok said add a cheese sauce. She bought a store-bought one. I had to make one from scratch, but that was so good. Do not skip the cheese sauce. Definitely add it to the top of this, because it just pulled the whole dish together and it was amazing. Dinner number 4 is a pumpkin chili recipe. If you do not like pumpkin and you do not like cinnamon or spices, this one is not going to be for you. I'm telling you right now. But I'm showing you all the ingredients that you need right here, and they will also be in the recipe down below, because I'm going to save you guys listening to me rattle through all of these. But this was so good. I enjoyed it. My mom tried it. She thought it was great. My husband, he was not a biggest fan. But I also went very heavy on the pumpkin spice, because the original recipe calls for that, and I am gonna cut it down when I tell you guys about that. But cut down all of your produce, your bell pepper, your jalapeno, and your onion. Cut them into bite-sized cubes. You don't really want huge chunks of anything in this. You want it all to be about the same size as what your beans would be, so around bite-sized texture for everything. If you don't want the extra heat, don't add the jalapeno, and if you want a little extra heat, keep the ribs and the seeds into your jalapeno, because it will make a difference. Heat up some oil in a large pot. You're going to see me here in a skillet and put my vegetables in it to cook, and now I'm transferring them to a big pot. For some reason in my head, I thought this was a crock pot recipe when I started it, and it's not. It was for the stovetop, so I had to transfer out of the pan and into my large soup pot. Then I will mix all of the spices together, and all of them will be down in the recipe. But when you do the pumpkin spice, don't do what it says, just half. Just half of the amount that it says is more than enough. Then you're gonna use either fresh garlic and do what I'm doing with a press, or use the jarred stuff, chop some garlic, whatever you wanna do, but put about 3 to 4 cloves of garlic in there, and then put your ground turkey. You can also do this with ground beef, but it is better with a poultry for the pumpkin. Then an entire can of the tomato paste goes in. And what you want to do is you want to wake up that tomato paste. So get it in there and stir it around to really wake it up for a minute before you add the rest of your ingredients into that pot. It does help to take that extra step. Put the whole can of the diced tomatoes. Do not drain that, but do drain and rinse both cans of your beans before you put them in. The recipe also calls for the entire can of pumpkin. I didn't do that. I only did half of the can, and it was more than enough. So again, half the amount of pumpkin spice, half the amount of pumpkin, unless you want this thing really, really, really cinnamony and pumpkin-y, because trust me, it gets there. And then you're going to add all of your chicken broth slowly in there. It's 3 cups. You can add less if you want a thicker chili, or a little bit more if you want a thinner chili. And then you're going to use whatever chili toppings you like. We just use some crushed up tortilla chips, sour cream, and shredded cheddar cheese. But whatever you want to put on top of your normal chili will work just fine on this. I thought this was phenomenal. The last recipe is a dump and go pasta recipe I got off of TikTok. It is so easy. You just need a pound of rotini, a bag of frozen meatballs, a jar of whatever pasta sauce you like, some kind of Italian cheese, and 3 cups of water. Take a 13x9, dump all the pasta into it, then dump the entire jar of sauce, pour some of the water into the jar and shake it to get all the extra out, but then put all 3 cups of water over the top of this, mix that up really, really well, just like to get it incorporated. Pour the entire bag of meatballs over the top and push them down into like one little line instead of a pile. Cover this thing with foil, and that is all you have to do other than baking this thing. It is seriously so simple. Pop it in your oven, 425 degrees for 35 minutes. Once the 35 minutes are up, take it out, take the foil off, cover it with the cheese entirely, and then put the foil back on. Like, this is like literally all the steps that you have. This thing was phenomenal and so easy. Once the foil goes back on, put it back in the oven for another 25 minutes, pull it out of your oven, and just look at it. Dinner is already served right then and there. It's bubbly goodness. It is spaghetti night with no work. It's so simple. It was fantastic. My kids loved it. This was so, so good. But thank you guys so much for watching this one. I hope you got some more dinner recipes to try. If you try any of these, tag me over on Instagram so I can see that you made them. I hope you enjoy them. Thumbs up, subscribe, all that. I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.